You're still muted there, Chris.
Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Chris, and I am the Conservation Engagement and Outreach Worker for Birds Canada. I do a lot of things like this, communications and outreach, and just telling people about birds and sharing our bird knowledge and answering your curious questions. Okay, and before we begin, I would like to know if any of you have a favorite bird or even a second and third favorite bird. And if you don't have one, that's okay. Maybe you'll find a bird that you like by the end of this webinar. But if you do, let me know in the chat over there. Ooh, great horned owl. Awesome. A parrot, black-capped chickadee. Oh, these are great. Hummingbird. Ooh, okay. American kestrel. Lots of raptors, lots of birds of prey coming in. That's awesome. The chicken. That's a great one. Oh gosh. Okay. Thank you. And before we begin, I would also like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam nations. And also a note for today, we will be having a giveaway, a prize giveaway. So thank you to our friends from the BC Bird Trail for providing us the prizes. Today's prizes include a tote bag, a hat, a water bottle, really cool, and a couple of stickers. So if you would like to win one of two of these packages that we're gonna send to you, just ask lots of questions about birds, or if you're more knowledgeable and you're a little bit more advanced, and you know which species we're showing on the screen, just let us know in the chat. And Christina will keep an eye on it. Thank you very much for our participants. And with that, let us begin. Okay, so let's start off with some tips to help you identify birds. You want to look at 5 main things, which are habitat, size, shape, color, and behavior. The size, shape, and color might be the first thing that everyone thinks about when they're looking at a bird, but it's not always the best indicator of what species you're looking at. Because, for example, here we have 2 birds on the screen. One, they're both yellow, but the species on the left side, the common yellow-throat, it's very specific to marshes and wetlands. So that's typically where you will only find them, versus the yellow warbler, which is more of a generalist. You'll find it in parks, in wetlands, in forests, and things like that. So narrowing it, identifying your habitat and narrowing down your birds in that habitat can help you make a more specific identification. So remember that some birds have specific habitat needs, while some you can find almost everywhere. So make note of the habitat where you are seeing the bird. Here are a few examples of various habitats where you might find birds. That's forests, marshes, open fields, and local ponds. And again, knowing which habitat you're in will help you narrow down what species of birds you can find in your area. Another thing to take note is the behavior of the bird. So was it singing like this red-winged blackbird, or gliding over a marsh like this northern harrier? Did it catch an insect like the American dipper, or was it walking along a beach like the sanderling? Some birds have very specific behaviors. For example, you will never see the American dipper sing on top of a cattail like the red-winged blackbird. And taking note of the behavior will further help you narrow down the species that you are trying to identify. Being able to estimate size and looking at the overall shape of a bird is also a great clue. Does it sit upright like a robin, or does it kind of hunch a little bit lower like a crow? What's the shape of the beak? Is it more pointed like the robin, or is it more flat like the goose shown here? Again, these are all tips that will help you identify your bird. A fun way to identify birds is to look at field marks or patterns. And what do I mean by field marks? These are basically just distinct features of a bird. For example, the yellow bill on the bald eagle, or the white rump of the northern harrier shown there above. It's got a little bit of white near its tail or its butt, or the red eye of the spotted towhee. The patterns on the face and body help too. So for example, the black-capped chickadee, it has a black cap, also a black throat. While the song sparrow, which is this white and brown bird shown on the bottom, it's got brown streaks on the side by its wings, and then it's also got some gray lines on its face. So when you tell your family or friends of the birds you saw, you can say it was a bald eagle because it had a white head, it had a large yellow bill, and big yellow feet. So let's try this out. What differences do you see between these birds? And do you know which species they are? Let us know in the chat.
Just while we're waiting for things to come in, Chris, there's a question there about sanderlings. So are they sandpipers, or is that a different name for it, or is it a different bird?
Yes, so sanderlings are a type of shorebird. They are kind of a type of sandpiper, but sandpiper is like more of a general group, kind of saying sparrows. You know, there's lots of different kinds of sparrows, and there's lots of different kinds of sandpipers. Junco on the left and towhee on the right. Wow, that was quick. That's awesome. Yeah. One has a red eye, the color is different. Yes. Colleen, do you have a more specific description on which colors are different? Yes, thank you, Emerson. Red eye on one, black and white feathers versus more gray and black. Yeah, that's great. You might also notice that the spotted towhee is holding his tail upright versus the junco, just kind of more flat. Nice. You got it, Colleen, you got it. Black beak, pink beak, yep, there's the difference there. How about some similarities? What do they have in common? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the towhee does have a red eye, Colleen. Yeah, some people, it freaks some people out. Both have a black head and white belly. Yes, that's great. They have kind of like this black mask or bib on them, as lots of birders like to describe. Both are likely to be seen on the ground. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Cole and Arthur. Okay, I'm gonna move on to our next bird. Thank you for all your answers. So let's try this one. What's the difference between these two ducks? One is male, one is female. Thank you, Debbie, but not quite. These are actually both males. Green-winged teal and right is American Pigeon. Wow, Colin Arthur, really good with your birds. Bronze head, mm-hmm. Yes, Aaron, you got it. Green, white head, brown head, reddish and blue-green head, black beak versus white beak. You'll also notice that the green-winged teal on the left side there, it's got a little bit of a white bar closer to the front of its body. And then the American widgeon has has a black tail or black butt. Depends on what you want to call. Longer feathers. Yes. So they both have like that green color or strip around the eye, but the American widgeon is a little bit lighter. It's kind of like an apple green versus the green-winged teal. It's a bit of a darker green. Yeah, really great. Great answers. Let's try one more. Oh, there's the names. How about these two woodpeckers? Downy, there's Northern Flicker, really good. Yes, Downy is smaller, that is correct. Good job, Jace. Black and white versus red and white and brown. Yes, the flicker is bigger. That's a good one, Emerson. Keeping a note of the size, that's awesome. Yeah, so you might also notice that the flicker has a polka dot kind of belly on him versus the downy woodpecker, which has a more plain colored belly. Good job, Colleen. You got it right. The one on the right has longer legs. Yes, that's correct, Aaron. You got it. Yeah, so the flicker is a larger bird in general compared to the downy woodpecker. Really great job, guys. Very fast, very fast learners. Very impressed. Okay, so now that you know kind of the differences to make note of, like the color, the shape, and the size, let's move on to something a little different, which is bird songs. And so sometimes it can be difficult to see a bird when they're hiding in a bush or they're way up a tree, but you might be able to hear them. And so kind of similar in the way that how you can tell it's like your sibling or your mom or your dad because you recognize their voice. It's also possible to identify a bird just from listening to the songs or the calls that it makes. And so listening to bird songs is a really fun and it's a great way to practice your birding skills since you don't always have to see the bird to know who it is. So here we have an orange-crowned warbler hiding in a tree. And I'm gonna play its song here for you. And just give me a quick thumbs up if you can hear it. Awesome. That was quite short. Let's play it again. So it's got a little bit of a, if you would describe the call, it's got a little bit of a high pitch and like really fast trill to it. And also big thank you to Graham for providing us with all the cool and wonderful bird songs in this presentation. Okay, so here we have an Anna's hummingbird singing on a frosty morning. I'm curious to know, has everybody here seen an Anna's hummingbird? While I play this song, this video clip. Oops, sorry. Pooped a little bit on the end there. Okay. So it looks like most people have seen an Anna's hummingbird. Did you know that they spend all winter here in the southern coast of BC? And that's mostly because lots of people have their hummingbird feeders out, and so they have energy to survive for the whole winter, which is Wonderful to see. That's awesome, in your backyard, Aaron and Jace. Nice. So you can, if you were to describe the call or the song of this Anna's hummingbird, you could say it's a little bit scratchy, it's a little metallic, and it's high pitched, and that's kind of a good note to take care to remember for its identification. Okay, so here we have something a little bit more challenging. Graham recorded this in Delta, and this was during the peak migration season when lots of birds are traveling together and moving through our province in the spring months. And so it's possible to come across a tree like this with lots of different species all hanging out together. And even though you can't see most of the birds that I will play in this video in a second, you can identify all of the species based solely on the songs that you're hearing. So I'm going to play it now and let me know how many different bird songs or species you think you're hearing. Okay, so how many do you think there were? 7, wow, that's a lot. 4, okay. Can you identify which species maybe for the more advanced birders there, if you know? Okay, lots of low and high numbers. Okay, lots of people know the Red-winged Blackbird song. That's awesome. Yes, I can play it again for you. Give you another shot here, or bring up the answer. A starling, oh, from Colin Arthur. I actually did not hear that one. 7, okay. I think it's time I reveal the answer. So there are about 8 species on this tree. And at the start, it's a little bit confusing because they all kind of sound similar. But once you start to really study your bird songs and listen to them one by one, you'll hear that there's a certain pattern to it. And so has anybody seen, have you guys seen most of these birds already? All of them, of course. That's awesome. Great job, Colin Arthur. Nice. Any specific ones that you would like to see maybe in the future? The Western tanager is a tricky one because they like to hang around the treetops, and so it's a little difficult to see them during migration because you always have to look up and you might get a sore neck from it. Nice. Yeah, so lots of birds to kind of keep an eye out for, especially during spring migration. It's a great time because so many species are coming up to our province here. Western tanager along the side of the Fraser Highway once. Nice. That's a good spot from the car. Some serious birding skills. Okay, so we are going to move to some virtual birding. These are recordings around various habitats in the Delta, and we're just going to see how many species we're hearing or which ones we can hear. So this one, we are here on a windy day, but as you will be able to hear, that doesn't really stop the birds from singing. So let me play this clip for you. There we go. Okay. So any particular species or how many birds do you think are you hearing there? Eight. Oh, big number. Nice. Three. Mm-hmm. Can anyone identify some of the birds in that clip? I'll play it again for you. Okay. Yes. I didn't quite hear a hummingbird there, Natasha, but there very well might be. It's the kind of habitat that they like. Charlie says 2 or 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. That is close. So the main ones that we're hearing are actually the yellow warbler and the song sparrow. And a great way to remember your bird songs is to associate them with words. These are what birders call mnemonics. And for the yellow warbler, it's described as sweet, 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 I'm so sweet. And so I'm gonna play that again for you so you can kind of hear that. Okay, so keep an ear out in the spring when you hear sweet, 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 I'm so sweet. It's probably a yellow warbler. Great job, everybody. Very, very close. 2 species. Okay, this one is from a marsh. And same deal, I'm just gonna play the clip and let me know how many birds or which species you are hearing. Okay, so I'm seeing red-winged blackbird, which is correct. Marsh wren, that was a really good spot. Sparrow, yes. A song sparrow, actually. So I will show you here. Not sure why the red-winged blackbird it's not included there, but it definitely is there. I don't know. That's a good answer. That's a great answer. Knowing when to say you don't know which birds or what bird there is or how many there are is a totally fair answer. That's correct. So yeah, so we have that song sparrow singing a little bit closer to us, and then the marsh wren is singing a little bit farther away from the phone in this instance. And marsh wrens like to breed in cattails and grasses along the wetlands, and they're very territorial. In the spring and summer, like you'll see them just sing all day and chase lots of other competitors around their territory. Okay, so our last habitat is going to be the forest. And I will play this clip for you. Okay, so as you can hear, that one is quite busy. Lots of birds singing in the background. Aaron and Jay says a robin. That's correct. 5 or 6, very, very close. Cindy's a little bit, is a little overwhelmed. That's totally fine. Colin Arthur, I don't believe there is the wren there, but I could be wrong. There might be a Bewick's wren in there. So in total, I heard 6 in this clip, and I'll see if I can play it again for you. But one thing to note is there is a constant seesawing kind of call in the background. That one belongs to the American robin. And that's an important one to remember because they're one of the most common birds that you'll find around. So just pay attention to the sound in the background there. Great. Great guesses, everybody. Very, very close. Some of you got it. 6 or 7, yes. And another bird that I wanted to point it out is the Swainson's thrush. It has a very beautiful and ethereal song that spirals and fades out of volume. It's quite distinct. So I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna show the photo once the bird starts singing. So that was the song of the Swainson's thrush. It's got that spiraling loop kind of song, and it's a really beautiful sound to hear through the spring and summer because it just echoes throughout the forest. And most of the time you won't see them because they're quite shy. They like to hide in bushes, and you know, they're a little bit of a shy singer. But still, amazing bird if you ever get the chance to see them. Okay, so we are gonna go and play some fun behavior clips for you. And for this one, I would like to know what you think the birds are doing, and or which species you're hearing in the background. We got some early answers here. Dabbling, diving for fish and stuff. Great answer, Guru. We will see. Very enthusiastic group. So I will play this for you. Yeah, so that's correct. They are dabbling and they are swimming. Does anybody know why they're swimming in circles? They seem to be a little bit lost there. Trying to stir up the water, Colin Arthur. Debbie says trying to search for food. Those are both correct answers. So these northern shoveler ducks are swimming in circles because they are trying to stir up the sediment underneath the water. And that's where all their prey are, the little invertebrates and the small plant matter. So they stir that up and then they're using their bills to filter out the food. And there are some very fun videos on YouTube that show a group of around 100 northern shovelers just going around in a circle and they're just making this, you know, big little whirlpool around the water. It's quite funny. And birds in the background. I'm gonna play it again for you. sure. Totally fine. That's a good answer, Debbie. Got a question from Colleen. Do most ducks do this or just this type? As far as I'm aware, I've only seen this behavior in northern shovelers. Most other dabbling ducks, they just kind of tip over and feed on the bottom. But I've only ever seen northern shovelers do the little whirlpool dabbling motion. Aaron and Jace, red-winged blackbird, that's correct. There's another duck in that clip. Kind of your typical poster duck, which is the mallard. Yes, that's right. Great job, Colin Arthur. I did not quite hear the hummingbird, Natasha. But again, could be there. Kind of the right environment. Hey. On to the next one. We have some very adorable owlets, and I'm going to play this clip for you. Yes, great job. So these are barred owlets, and they are preening each other, Debbie. That's right. So these owls are actually siblings, and they are preening each other, and this helps them bond. This helps build the bond closer between them.
Is it owl?
Sorry?
Is it owl?
Yes, that's right. It's an owl. But yeah, so they preen each other so that they clean each other's feathers, but they're also just very curious at this age. These owlets are about 3 or 4 months. 3 or 4 months old only. Swainson's thrush, that's right. Did hear a Swainson's thrush. It is preening, not pruning. That's different, Guru. There's another bird that's making a very sharp call in the background. I'm going to play it again. Any guesses as to who that was? Not sure again. That's okay. So that one is actually the begging call of another owlet that is not on screen. So when I ran across these guys, they were in a forest, and most of the owlets were kind of just hanging around, but there was this one who was constantly begging. So the sharp call is the owl calling to its parents, asking for food. And so you might hear that in the warmer months when you're going for your forest walk, you might hear that sharp call, and that's how you can tell that, oh my gosh, there's an owl around, and it's asking for food from its parents. So that's also a good one to remember. Okay, and finally, I saved the best for last. We have this very odd looking bird in the marsh, and let's see what it's doing. Okay, so that's right, Colin Arthur. It is an American bittern. And great job. It is calling. Catching flies, Aaron and Jace. Not quite. But it's a good guess. It's a good guess. Because they are gulping air. And then they are, they've got this, the way that they call is that they compress that air and then they give it out. And it makes this really like dripping faucet sound that we call in the birding community. And this song of the American bittern, it's low frequency, and so you can hear it's kind of a lower pitch, and that allows the sound to travel really far in the marsh habitats, because the places they live, it's usually a big expanse of marsh, and to find each other, they have to be able to call and send the message out. Two species in the background from Colin Arthur. There's actually more than two, but I will play it again for our last video. Yes, that's right. There is a Canada goose out there. I also heard, it might not come through as well, but I heard a mallard, a robin, a common yellowthroat, a song sparrow, and maybe a marsh wren. There could also be a crow, Natasha. It's a little bit of a busy kind of background noise because it's right next to a highway. But yeah, that is the American bittern and its song. I hope you see one in the marsh next time you go birding. They are around all year round, which is great, but they don't sing not until like spring or summer. Okay, and with that, I want to thank you for coming to our presentation. If you'd like to know more about our organization, it is birdscanada.org. And for more information about birds and birding locations around you, where you live, check out ebird.ca and allaboutbirds.org. And if you have any questions about birds or birding here in BC, I will be very happy to take them. Thank you, everybody. Colin Arthur, do I do bird walks? Yes, I occasionally do bird walks. Christina and I will actually be doing a Christmas bird count for kids this Saturday, pending the weather, if it's nice. Christina has a question. What do bitterns eat in the winter when there are less flies? So the bitterns don't actually eat insects. They usually eat amphibians like frogs or reptiles or small fish and things like that around the marsh. So during the winter time, that prey item is still available, but they're just a little bit more conservative with their energy. So if you find a bittern, it's typically just like sitting there because it doesn't want to use up too much energy. Oh no, that's unfortunate. Colin Arthur. We'll have you next time. What is your favorite bird? Asks Reina. That would be the American dipper, which I showed a little earlier on the slide. It got a little insect in its beak. And the reason being is that because it's such a small bird and it's kind of drab colored, it's like this dark grayish, bluish color, people wouldn't think much about it. But the American dipper lives in really fast flowing water, creeks and things like that. And it's incredible to watch them just jump into the water, dive, catch insects, and then pop right back out. And they're very comfortable with it. They don't struggle with like that turbulent, that crazy environment that they live in. So that's the reason why I like them so much. Post a website on the chat. Yes, I can do that for sure. Oh, thank you. You beat me to it, Colin. Have you seen the American Dipper in Surrey/Langley? I have not. So to see the American Dipper, I usually go across north of the Fraser River, and I go to Maple Ridge or Pitt Meadows or areas higher up where all the creeks are flowing through. Were any of the photos taken in Summerland? Asked Emerson. Maybe the two juvenile owls. I think I took the dipper around Okanagan, but the juvenile owls are from here in the Lower Mainland. And if you want to unmute yourself and ask the question directly, you could do that too. I'm just scrolling up here. Aaron and Jace ask, how many birds have you seen in BC? Ooh, I don't have a good number for that one. But quite a bit, I would say. Closer to, gosh, 30 or 40 species, I would say. Thank you, Guru. Have a good evening. Reina asks, do bald eagles migrate? Yes, they do. So during the fall season, lots of bald eagles actually travel up north, typically to Alaska or even just Squamish, because that's where all of the salmon are congregating, and so there's more foods for them there. But yes, bald eagles do migrate back and forth throughout the province. Aaron and Jace, they ask, are there any invasive birds in BC? Yes. So we have European starlings, which are quite prevalent in places where it's disturbed by humans. So a lot of like cities and local parks. Also house sparrows. Yeah, you got it, Colin Arthur. They like to nest around where people live as well. So like, you know, buildings and things like that. Yes, we also have the Eurasian colored dove. Good call.
Now only left 12 people.
What's that, Cindy?
Now only left 12 people only.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I quite understood that. It was a little bit of static on my end. If you want to type it in, I might be able to answer you better. Okay. Emerson asks, what birds should we look for at this time of year? So this time of year, during the winter, we have a lot of really cool ducks that kind of hang around our marshes and our coasts, because most of the time they, in the warmer months, they migrate inland or they migrate north to the boreal forest. So if you could get to coastal areas such as White Rock, for example, or Stanley Park, the seawall there, it's a really good place to see thousands and thousands of marine ducks, like the surf scoter, which is on this slide. That's the bird with the orange bill on the bottom. Where is your favorite spot to bird around Surrey/Langley? Oh gosh, there's so many good ones, Colin Arthur. But my personal favorite would be around Serpentine Fen and Surrey Lake Park, I would say. There's a lot of diversity in those areas. Great birding spots all year round, I would also say. Mm-hmm. 12 birds, says Cindy. Oh, I think there are 12 birds on this one. Great count. How are we doing for time, Christina? Would you like to announce our winners for the prize?
Yeah, I think we should before everybody has to take off. So we'd
Okay,
like to give, so we have sort of two prizes. Kind of one was for a keen birder or somebody who is has a little bit more knowledge than some of our other.
I live in Singapore.
I missed that. And I would, we're gonna give that to Cole and Arthur. So congratulations, Cole and Arthur. Would you mind just putting your either to everyone or just to me directly your email address, just so we'll follow up with you to get a mailing address.
Mhm.
And also Cindy, we're gonna award you the Curious Birder Prize. So Cindy's mom or dad or whoever's there, if you could type your email in the chat too, that'd be great. And we'll follow up with you to get you a mailing address. And thanks so much, Chris. That was so much fun. I learned so much and it was so interactive and it really felt is the next best thing to actually being outside. That was really cool and getting to learn so many different things. And thanks to all of you for being so engaged and for asking amazing questions. And yeah, I'm just so impressed with your basic birding knowledge. It's pretty amazing. So thank you so much. And yeah, as Chris mentioned, we are our Christmas bird count for kids for sort of the Vancouver area. We're going to be in Stanley Park on Saturday. So just check out our website for the details about that. And also there'll be one in Langley on January 1st. So if you can't make it next weekend, there'll be one in Langley in the new year. And yeah, thank you so much for all of you being with us tonight. I hope you
Thank
have
you,
a
everybody.
good rest of your evening.
Take care.
Thank you.